Alright, so I'm live in a different setting today. I'm just in my kitchen. Even though this looks like it's not got me in the middle. I guess that's just how it's going to be today. But yeah, anyway, it's been quite a good week for my channel, so I kind of just wanted to talk about some of the stuff that's been going on. Let me share this video on Twitter and stuff while I'm waiting for people to come. I don't know if I'm going to leave this up afterwards. In terms of leaving it up for people to watch in the future. Maybe I'll see. But yeah, I'll wait till more people join and I'll just talk about this stuff. So yeah, gonna tweet the link out. But it is funny getting all these comments on my channel at like the same time from Tommy Robinson and PewDiePie fans. So wait, let me just... I am live streaming right now. Come and join as I talk about my recent videos. Alright, there we go. So I am done. And then let us get the chat up on my phone. Live chat there. And YouTube chat. Alright, there we go. Yeah, so anyway, the people watching already, or the people watching later or tomorrow, whenever you're watching this, basically, you might have seen the two videos I've made this weekend about, about PewDiePie, about Tommy Robinson, and what I always find funny is their stupid fans who always brigade every video. And also, someone shared my Jordan Peterson video on BreadTube, the subreddit, and then there's like some automatic thing that goes off and they see it, his like fans, and they all just brigade it. They do that all the time. It's really strange. But yeah, anyway, just waiting for a couple more people to join. 3 people, 4 people. But I'm gonna make a follow-up video to it. Don't know when, probably do it tomorrow. Just reading some of the dumbest comments, and I don't understand some of their logic. They keep saying like, why have you called PewDiePie a Nazi? And I'm thinking, I've never ever said that. And they say all this, they basically like make up stuff just to act like I've said it. And it's clearly they didn't watch my video. They're just, they're using the general argument people have been using. All right, see if the chat's working. Okay, but yeah, in terms of like the argument they keep making about the stupid Georgian cross, I find it really, really stupid and pathetic. I just don't understand how they don't see what my argument is that people like that, it doesn't matter if it's an iron cross or a Georgian cross, it means, something to certain people. I had this guy comment on the video, and he had a symbol that was like 3 triangles connected together. And I was wondering, it looked like a fascist symbol, it just looked like one. It kind of reminded me of a swastika, even though it's time to go off topic, Joe was saying. Not yet, we're keeping on topic for now. Yeah, so it kind of looked like a swastika, but it was like 3 triangles connected. And I looked it up, it's like a Nordic neo-Nazi symbol, because of course it is. And then there's loads of other Nazis in the comments just defending him. Like, I can't understand the logic of 14-year-olds a lot of the time. It's just so ridiculous. Of course, I was one once upon a time, but at the same time, it's just so stupid. Wait, edit the title quick. Hi, Veronica. Thanks for joining, and hi, Chol, as well. Let me just... There's a bit of a weird thing in the title. There we go. But yeah, it's just strange that they disconnect, and they can't take a rational argument. St. George's cross. It honestly doesn't matter what type of cross it was. Like Georgian, St. George's. Like isn't St. George's the English one, isn't it? Or Iron Cross, and the Iron Cross is of course still used in Germany. It doesn't, like, my argument basically was, of course it doesn't automatically make him a Nazi or mean he's a Nazi, but at the same time, it's not really doing him any favors, and it's not something you'd really wear when you're trying to make this sort of video about anti-Semitism. So Nicholas saying, why do people call Jeremy Corbyn an anti-Semite? Barry Weiss said that he was on the real time of Bill Maher, which is the most recent episode, painful to watch, although Crystal Ball and MM, who's MM? Was it Michael Moore or something, or someone else? Basically, people call Jeremy Corbyn anti-Semite. If there are people like Barry Weiss or Barry Weiss or whatever, she's right from the New York Times, isn't she? Basically, people say, Michael Moore, basically, people say Jeremy Corbyn's an anti-Semite because he said, basically, Hezbollah are our friends, but he didn't mean it like they're actually our friends. He's like, we've got to come together and sort of have negotiations with groups like Hezbollah and Hamas. He criticizes Israel all the time, and that's why he gets smeared all the time. And the Tory press in this country, let's not kid ourselves, the British press is heavily right-leaning, kick up a big stink about Jeremy Corbyn anti-Semitism, when the Tory party do not accept, I don't know what definition of anti-Semitism, but it's a pretty universally accepted one. They don't accept that. They haven't adopted that. And they call Jeremy Corbyn and the Labour Party anti-Semites. And it always happens to people challenging Israel. And here's the problem that happens to a lot of people in the left wing, and how actually left-wing people become anti-Semites, is that they start believing that Jews control everything. Of course, they're calling... So this is like left-wing anti-Semitism is like, of course, they're smearing Jeremy Corbyn. The Jews control everything. The Jews control the media. And it's not as simple as that. The media in this country is not controlled by some Jewish conspiracy. It's controlled by a bunch of rich English people, mainly. But rich English conservative people really support Israel. And that's what the problem is. So they're supporting the Israelis' position. Of course, the Israeli lobby, like the Saudi lobby, like a lot of these lobbies, they have quite a big influence in British politics. And that is part of the reason. But these newspapers and the TV stations, they are pro-Israel because their conservative owners are pro-Israel, rather than some stupid, ridiculous anti-Semitic conspiracy that somehow Jews just controlled everything, which is obviously not true. But the English flag should be taken down at all times. I don't like the English flag anyway. I prefer the Union Jack. But it used to be the other way around. People used to think the Union Jack meant empire, and they preferred the English flag. It's quite interesting. But yeah, basically, a good thing to remember, people would call Bernie Sanders an anti-Semite in a second if he wasn't Jewish. They just would. You just know you just know, based on his positions, he called Netanyahu's government racist. Can you imagine if Ilhan Omar did that, or AOC, or anyone who wasn't Jewish and was a critic of Israel? Can you imagine if Jeremy Corbyn did that? And I think he has done that. They get smeared, but Bernie Sanders is, of course, a Jew, so they're not going to smear Bernie Sanders as an anti-Semite, but they would love to. They would love to. But they're so angry that they can't use that against him. But what is annoying about this sort of stuff is it decredits real anti-Semitism. So, for example, the president of Hungary is a massive anti-Semite. Tory government rolls out the red carpet for him. That's fine. You know, you're not anti-Semitic for endorsing this super anti-Semitic guy. But if you criticize Israel, then you are anti-Semitic. Hi, Eric. Thanks for joining. I've got top chat. I need to get rid of this live chat. That's better. Yeah, but thanks for the question, Nicholas. It's always an interesting one. It's annoying and a bit ridiculous, but media bias does exist and media framing does exist. People like Jeremy Corbyn and Bernie Sanders are never going to get a fair shake in any of these matters, especially with anti-Semitism. And I think some people on the left are more anti-Israel than me, and it is a bit of a popular position. I'm for both Israel and Palestine, and I know people don't always like that, but in terms of Jewish history, it's super brutal, especially some of the stuff I've learned, whether it's in Spain, England, Hungary, under the Romans or whatever. It's always been super brutal. So I'm not against Jewish people having their own country, especially in the context of when it was founded just after the Holocaust. I obviously, reading a book about 1948 and 1967, obviously the way they've gone about it is awful. Like, I was reading about 1948, the way they kicked everyone out. Loads of people died on these marches that they made them do. 1967, they did the same thing, just ethnically cleansing all these areas, and now they want to do the same thing again. So Zionism sort of goes beyond just wanting a homeland for the Jews. It's wanting a very specific homeland for the Jews, and that is all of Israel, and that's what Netanyahu wants. Obviously, he wants the whole West Bank pretty much, and then when he's got that, or if he does get that, he's going to want even more territory for Israel. And obviously that's problematic since they've got a thriving country, well, for the Jews they do, not for Palestinians that live in Israel, and Palestinians who live in Palestine as well. I mean, yeah, but I mean, they want the historic territory of Israel, don't they? It was Israel first. They want biblical or Old Testament Torah style Israel. They want it all for them, don't they? That's what I mean by that. Yeah, they want to take. Well, what was it first? It was Israel first because the Canaanites and the Israelis. Yeah, but the Jews do come from Israel. That is their homeland. Even if the Bible is not real, that is where they've always been. You can go back and read. Well, not go back. There's histories that the ancient Egyptians wrote talking about the people of Solomon and stuff. So obviously, Solomon and David are king of the people who we know as the Jews. So that territory has always been Jewish. There isn't any history really. There's Semites, because it used to be all called Semites, isn't it? That sort of area. Yeah, but Israel as a territory is ancient. Like they called it, well, Judea, whatever you want to call it, Roman Judea. Then the names they had back then. Israel, as they understand it, has existed for, well, it used to exist. It's an old country that came back in the 40s. Because the Egyptians had contacts with them, so did the Greeks and so did the Romans. They were occupied by the Babylonians, they were occupied by the Greeks, and they're occupied by the Romans. There's lots of history documenting their existence there. I don't think there is any real dispute that Jews, as a people, do come from Israel. And they were the original people there, as far as history tells us, because we can't go back further. That's how ancient this sort of notion of Israel is. It's up there with ancient Egypt as these places that they think there's sort of a country around it, because obviously the idea of Egypt is ancient as well as a nation. The idea of Israel as a nation, because the Torah and the Bibles, even though you can't access the original ones, you can read some of them in ancient Hebrew. They have been around for a long, long time. So in some ways I'm sympathetic to that. I'm not sympathetic because their history, obviously, if you have a country that is essentially occupied when you're a Jewish majority, then you're kicked out. You go around all these other countries, you're used, and then they steal your property and money, kick you out again, or kill you. So in France, they basically said the Jews, they're all like homosexuals, they're just weird. Get out of France, and we'll take all your territory because you've accumulated some wealth. In Spain, they're like, your blood's not pure. You're dirty, you can't be a real Christian, even if you convert, even if you're Jewish, you can't be Christian. Kick them out, kick the Muslims out. In England, did the same thing. So I'm sympathetic in terms of that sort of idea. Obviously not sympathetic to Palestine or the mandate of Palestine having a small Jewish population and then European Jews come over and kick out all these Palestinians. I don't agree with that, obviously, and I don't agree with the way it went down. But yeah, as a sort of, Bible's been translated and everything, but there's historical documents, even if you don't believe in the religion, there's historical documents that these people did live there, whether that's the Egyptians, whether that's the Babylonians, the Greeks. There is recognition that these people lived there. And of course, they were occupied by many of these empires, so they know they lived there. But yeah, it's complicated. Netanyahu is a racist, yeah, I agree with that. Many of the original Jews were black. They have the Ethiopian Jews, don't they? There's that movie that came out of Chris Evans about the Ethiopian famine and the Jewish airlift. When they... But what's quite funny is it was like a propaganda film for Israel by all accounts, but the Israelis actually treated the Ethiopian Jews really badly when they came to Israel. They were super racist to them, which is interesting. I'm sure it was glossed over in the film. Chol is Ethiopian. Eric thinks Jews deserve their own state, and that Israel's doing this flat out wrong. Yeah, they have been doing so much shit. If you read books about it, what they were doing in 1967, to take territory, they would get a farmer to drive a tractor into either like Syrian or Egyptian territory or Jordanian territory, wait for the Arabs to shoot at them, and then have an airstrike and destroy their position there, and then take the territory from themselves. It's super shady. Hi, Banger Music. Did you see the video going out about Tommy? It's called Tommy's Going to Be Killed. What's that about? People always think I'm being anti-Semitic, but they learn I'm half Jewish and used to love Israel. Then they think maybe Israel's a place they lied to us about. Why do they think you're anti-Semitic? Because you criticize Israel. We were talking about that earlier. Hi, Jose. After airing in 1997, 22 years of being 10 years old, 6 failed Pokemon League runs in 6 previous regions, Ash Ketchum has finally been made a champion in canon to the game's Pokemon League. Hi, Moni in God's Hands. Yeah, I used to watch Pokemon as a kid. It's one of the first cartoons I remember watching, but I'm happy for Ash. He's been 10. He never had a dad either. Even more respect to him. Just his mum and Professor Oak. Banger, I can't check it out now. Just tell me what it's about. Worst neighbour antis. What don't you understand? Are you talking about my Tommy Robinson video? Israel-Palestinian Israel-Palestinian tensions are very similar to Catholics and Protestants in Northern Ireland. Yeah, in some ways, but not. 447, no, he's not Muslim. Basically, what that Alicia girl was tweeting was that he wants to act like Britain's being so overtaken by Muslims. When you go to prison, you're basically forced to convert. He was saying how he got visited by an imam 2 weeks before he got visited by a Christian. It's basically like Muslims are taking over the country. That's what the image he wants to portray. And I just thought it was interesting what that Alicia said. Nicholas saying, Joe Biden needs to drop out. Every day he stays in the race, he makes Trump's chance of re-election go up. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And you know, that stuff about corn pop or something, he's seriously, his brain is not working properly anymore. Like some of this crap he comes out with. Jose, 2 episodes away from catching up to Mr. Robot. I was so sad about Trenton and Mobley. Jose, what episode did you just finish? I don't want to spoil anything. I just try and remember. Yeah, I love it so much. You'll be caught up well. So the beard is all an act. Yeah, the beard and hair are all an act. He's acting like he couldn't get a haircut or, you know, shave properly. But to make him look like he's become like a Muslim convert, he even said it. Over 100,000 people who watch me on Banger TV. You won't tell us your name. What even is Banger Music TV? You have one watching. Are you just reflecting my stream on me? No, it's just you're playing some music on your stream. That's literally it. Yeah, Jose, what happened in episode 8 so I don't accidentally spoil it something? Hi, Michael. Thanks for joining. Yeah, I just looked Banger Music. You have one person watching some music. I don't see the difference between Israel today and South Africa in the 60s and 70s. In the 70s and 80s. Yeah, obviously it has those elements of apartheid in Israel. But I think the difference is because it's two countries, isn't it? It's like Palestinians in Israel, and then you have Palestine as well. So it's more like complicated. But yeah, I do agree with you. There's elements of, apartheid in Israel today, and this sort of a segregation. Yeah, I don't even know if I believe an imam visited him. What, you just get random visits from imams every day? Why can't you just be like, I don't fancy this guy coming to visit me today. Can you please not have him there? Yeah, Jose, what episode was it? I want to talk about it. Hi, Christy. Thanks for joining. But yeah, in terms of while Jose is replying, what do people think if you watch it about the PewDiePie video or even the situation? And did you read some of the comments? I could see some of you but fighting the fight for me in the comments, which I always appreciate. Jose, Elliot had to babysit Trenton's brother. Jose, I'm not joking. That is my favorite episode, maybe TV episode of all time. It's so good. It's such a good episode. I love the Back to the Future stuff in it. Season 3 is so good. That episode as well, when he like diffuses the bomb, but then the other ones went off. Oh man, such a good show. I can't wait for season 4. What was it? American fascism inspired the Nazis. Yeah, I made a whole video on it, Chol. Go back like 9 months. I made a video called How America Inspired Nazi Germany. Lee saying, I don't know what PewDiePie actually does. I've never watched one video. I just know he's a streamer and the biggest YouTuber on the platform. PewDiePie steals memes, it is known. I forgot what meme he stole, but he ruined Raimi memes in Spider-Man. He ruined. Christy, don't worry. I've never watched him either. I'm only aware of him because of stupid Reddit. Will I ever cover Ayn Rand? I made one video on Ayn Rand because some MSNBC journalist I follow from Venezuela, she posted a picture of her reading Atlas Shrugged and talked about how good it was. I don't know if she's the brightest person. She's obviously smart in many ways, but loads of people calling out in the comments is like, why are you talking about how great this is? It's literally the ideology that's destroying America at the moment. People like Paul Ryan, Donald Trump says he likes Ayn Rand, whether he even fucking, has read it. He probably thinks he's, who's the character in it? John Galt. Andy saying, Tommy Robinson and his followers are only significant because the media makes them visible. It creates the impression there's some larger movement going on. Yeah, Andy, I think that's also the historic problem with the press in terms of like Nigel Farage as well. Nigel Farage, who's never been anything other than an MEP, has so much power in this country because the press made him big. He was a nobody. He should have stayed a nobody. But there's obviously like, dark forces controlling the press who want people like that to be prominent. Sadly. In what way is he similar to that Pooh guy? What are you talking about? Who's Pooh? Winnie the Pooh? Chris is saying, I love how Ayn Rand ended up being indignant and dependent on all the social services she fought against. Yeah. Ayn Rand, it's crazy people love her, even though she's a terrible writer, super racist, awful takes about women, not very, much about freedom in terms of anything else apart from worshipping, capitalist titans of industry and shit like that. It's just crazy. Yeah, Chol, have you been watching Peaky Blinders? Don't spoil it for me, anyone. I got 2 episodes to catch up on now. I missed today's. I missed last week's. Tommy Robinson is our generation's Oswald Mosley. Yeah, at least Oswald Mosley was probably a bit more smart and eloquent. Tommy Robinson's just like a football chav who's just racist, and then he fell into politics that way. Michael saying, most who follow Ayn Rand don't actually follow her philosophy, or at least they edit it to bits that might apply to them. Yeah. Well, I think it goes with a lot of ideologies. No one follows it completely, but yeah, I agree with you more on the Ayn Rand stuff. I think it's just an excuse. It's some sort of ideological excuse just to make some sort of brutal free market that just fucks over everyone. Who's Michael Mosley with bloody diets? Don't forget to hit the like button. Yeah, like the video. I think a lot of you have, which I appreciate more than normal actually. She was an awful person. Yeah, totally awful. And the Republicans who say they follow her, Wait, is Rand Paul named after Ayn Rand? Ayn Rand, Rand Paul, Paul Ryan. It's a nice trifecta of people who believe in the same thing. New Vendetta. What did you discuss about them? Were they viewed in a positive light? The Ayn Rand books. Isn't the Ayn Rand books that like communists take over the US and just destroy it, and then there's like all these rich people that hide away. Yeah, that's Atlas Shrugged, isn't it? I think I got that right. Well, a comprehensive takedown of Warren video exists in the near future. I don't know, to be honest. These videos are hard because you really have to get into policy. So with someone like Warren, if I'm going off the top of my head, I could go like, her stance on Medicare for all, her answer about increasing Trump's war budget she gave to TYT, which was garbage. Her being a Republican to like the 1990s when she's like, what, 40 or something? Stuff like that. But I don't know if there's enough in it. We'll see. I've got a good video on Ben Shapiro and his constant phrase that capitalism and free markets have raised millions out of poverty. And basically, I'm using the case study of the Ethiopian sweatshops where they're paid $23 a month, but a rent for a single room with like no bathroom or anything is $52. So I'm just going into how, obviously awful that is and the situation imposed by them by capitalism, and they make like Calvin Klein's, Tommy Hilfiger and shit like that. So it's awful. So that's my next video. It is scheduled for Tuesday, but I think I'm going to make a video replying to some of these PewDiePie comments, and I might put that out on Tuesday instead, put this out on Thursday. She made us write an essay about what we'd learned. What did you write about? Annie saying, I agree, this is about my point about the media, Nigel Farage. But compared to a decade ago, UKIP are basically dead, thankfully. It is worrying, but Farage is using Brexit to garner support, but I'm not convinced he'll win many seats. Well, the benefit of the parliamentary system, even though it's not good, is that it does keep out crazy fringe parties like that, even though they're popular. It is crazy that the SNP have so many seats, despite not getting that many votes. So the Lib Dems got more seats than the SNP, and UKIP got more votes in 2015 than not the SNP. They nearly, what was it? They got like half their votes, but they got like no seats or one seat. I forget which. When did UKIP lose their seat? I don't know if they got it in 2015. Communists didn't let the Romanovs family escape. Nope. She's Republican too, yeah. I watched a BBC documentary about the Notting Hill race riots in 1958. White working class Britons went after black Caribbeans. Oswald Mosley instigated most of it. Yeah, that's not surprising. There was so much shit. That's the stuff Britain likes to pretend didn't happen, all these race riots. And they went up until either there were race riots against black people or riots against police brutality. And people like to forget it. It was still going on in the 90s. Lee, I didn't watch the debate, but I'll pose this question to everyone else in the chat who did watch the debate. So Lee's asking, what did I make of the Yang game show style offer at the start of the debate and the reaction to it? He said if you sign up on his website, he's going to give 10 families the UBI, I believe. Is that it? Michael saying, I'm more worried about how Farage got the Brexit party launched so quickly. He's such an opportunist, wasn't he? He's probably planned this the whole time. I don't think, Jose saying, I don't think anyone can top a takedown of Ben Shapiro as thoroughly as some more news. That's that guy with like the unbuttoned shirt and a tie, but it's like a news show. Yeah, I need to watch more stuff like this. I never really do. What's clear is both the democratic and economic systems need changing in the US and UK. In theory, the US one should work better, but what it results in is just total political gridlock where you don't do anything. the UK is a bit different, I guess, because if you get your majority, you can get a lot you want passed. But also, one good thing about UK politics, not all the parties just do what the leadership want, which has been the saving grace of this Brexit stuff, is that a lot of the Tories don't vote with the government, which has saved us on a lot of stuff. In America, they would just vote with the government the whole time. UK politics is bananas and so fascinating. It's just depressing, really. So Andy saying to Lee's question, I think Yang's offer was more about shaming the money than the others spent on the adverts. Brexit Party just continuing UKIP annoys me when they say it's a brand new party. I think it's more like it's taken a more right-wing, even more right-wing term than UKIP. But it's weird Farage that he left UKIP because they were becoming an anti-Islam party. But I would say the correlation between people who are against Islam wholesale and people who vote Brexit Party is pretty high. New Vendetta, do you think Bernie has a chance? I'm getting really discouraged by the media constantly attacking or ignoring him. Yeah, I think he still has a chance. I think people will be surprised. Do people think, even if Bernie gets in, do the corporations and this sort of like dark money, do they think they still control the agenda? The thing is, I think what maybe Trump has shown a bit is that although the president can be powerful if he has the backing of like the Senate and Congress, which he had for 2 years, the president can also not do a lot if you can stop him. And I think if they see Bernie win, they just want to still have Democrat or corporate Democrats control the Senate and Congress, which they probably still will. So let's say Bernie Sanders gets socialized medicine passed. I'm sure, even though they're going to fight tooth and nail to stop it, it's maybe something they might concede because it's something that's so hard to keep when you see the rest of the world doing something else. But I'm sure the compromise will be they will ramp up, I don't know, all their control and everything else, fighting against climate change or making sure the war budget keeps getting passed. So it's a hard one. I think people should definitely temper their expectations of what a Bernie Sanders presidency can do, because he obviously will. The difference with Bernie is that he'll obviously try and do these things, whether the Democratic Party will help him at all, and they need to win the Senate, otherwise they're not going to get anything done. If the Republicans control the Senate, what can Bernie really do? There's some, he can use and abuse what Trump's doing with what's it called again? Executive order he can do, but at the same time, that can only get you so far. So yeah. Chol, yeah, I was around for the 2011 riots. It was mad. I know people went to prison for participating in the riots. Yeah, it started off as an anti-police brutality protest and then became like a full-fledged chav riot. It was crazy. Labour is a mess. Tom Watson needs to go. We need Corbyn badly. Yeah, he's super annoying. Lee saying, I think all Western democracies need a big conversation about free market economics, which are here to stay in some form in the short term. Decide on the limits that should be placed upon it. I think we're in a better place now where the discussion is going against it. Because imagine if you're around the 1990s where capitalism has just triumphed over communism. There was no stopping capitalism in the 90s after the Cold War. It was just going everywhere. All these ex-Soviet states, all these African countries. It was just spreading like crazy. And you have garbage like Francis Fukuyama's End of History, just talking about how this is the end of history, free market, globalized economy. I bet he didn't see communism coming back, but it never goes away. What I find interesting about the debate about communism, just going off on a tangent, is how we never talk about the countries who became communist, the context of them. So like China and the Soviet Union, like some of the most backward and poor countries, especially Russia, in terms of the rest of Europe, Russia was so backwards. And I don't know why they don't think this context has any factor in on how even someone like Lenin, who was pretty more pure Marxist in many ways than someone like Stalin. I don't know why we never talk about the context of these countries, how poor they were, how, uneducated they were, how backwards their industries were. We never talk about this stuff when we talk about it. It's strange. Because obviously, if you implement communism in a well-off country, it's going to look really different, or Marxism. Not that I know what I believe in that sense too much. I don't know what I'd necessarily do if I wanted to do things like that. But it's just an interesting conversation. Lee's saying, I think Bernie and Yang are both important parts of the discussion, although Democrats need to focus more on what can win and work right now, but the conversation must happen. Well, Bernie, that poll, he beaten Trump in Texas. So Bernie makes more sense in a lot of ways anyway. Hi, Rayleigh, thanks for joining. Jose, Bernie will campaign in Senator states who don't cooperate, so that in 2 years they will be primaried and voted out. Yeah, I hope so. Jose, would you vote for Mohammed for president in Mr. Robot? Do you remember when he makes that little speech about how he can be president? And he's like, what does he say? He's like, everyone will have to eat Pop-Tarts and everyone has to be nice to him. And then Elliot's like, that sounds like a dictator. And he's like, what's that? And he's like, a shitty president. Doug saying, hi, Kavanako, as you've no doubt seen, PewDiePie fans are pretty rabid. Yeah, they're crazy. Literally, they're coming, they're like, PewDiePie is not a Nazi. How dare you call him a Nazi? I was like, I never called him a Nazi in this whole video. And I don't think anyone is literally calling him some sort of Nazi ethno-state believer. So at least I got stuck in West Brom on the night of the riots. 2 hours walk to get home in Birmingham. Oh, shit. It didn't really spread to my part of London. It was close by because Ealing is close by, and that was where a lot of the riots happened, but not really where I was. The like to dislike ratio on my PewDiePie video is bad. I don't think it is, because it's got more likes and dislikes. My Tommy Robinson one's got more dislikes than likes. So I'm happy with the PewDiePie one. At least there's some people with common sense. Monopolies and captive markets is what the states practice. The thing with America, would people say America is the worst example of free market economy? Like an actual free market economy? Because I wouldn't say America is state capitalist, like countries like Syria, for example, or China. Also, how Stalin killed to maintain his power. Yes, Stalin was crazy. A lot of this, in terms of the Soviet Union, in terms of standards of living and relative happiness and things, the 60s and 70s are actually pretty good compared to most of the world. It's the late 80s and the 50s and the 30s and 40s, that's when it's really awful. Doug well liked his video on PewDiePie. Everyone really liked it. My phone looked pretty good, actually. I filmed it on my phone. I thought it looked pretty nice. I was pretty surprised. Yeah, it's easy to attack the idea and gaslight the context. Communism is doomed. It's a shame the world doesn't pay more attention to Rojava. That's in Kurdistan or Syria, but they're saying it's part of Kurdistan. It's amazing what's happening there in the chaos. Yeah, communism probably is just, too much. Thanks, Riley, for the $2. I appreciate it. Take my money. No, I always appreciate donations. I'm super grateful that you guys are giving me money. And the Patreon subscribers as well. If there's any in the chat, always appreciate you guys. Yeah, nor the fact that these countries were authoritarian. Yeah, the funny thing is about China, Mao literally saw Marxism and he's like, oh yeah, Marx says a country should have a dictatorship of the proletariat, or the workers, obviously. He changed that to, I should be dictator of the workers. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is so far removed from what it is, but they would still be like, Mao was such a communist. I'll call PewDiePie a Nazi for fun, just for fun, I guess. Yeah, people were saying like, so you say all his fans are Nazis? I just wrote, yeah, just to annoy them. PewDiePie is the beginning of the pipeline to the alt-right. Yeah, Veronica, I think you're right. People are like, he has Ben Shapiro on his channel. He's like, he didn't have Ben Shapiro on to talk politics. Yeah, but he's a political figure. And if you have him on, kids are going to be like, oh, Ben Shapiro, let me go check out his content. Because they're dumb kids. They're just going to be influenced by it and believe it all. So that's the problem with it. Also, if you start shouting out white supremacists and following white supremacists on Twitter, does anyone remember he did that as well? Yeah, exactly. It's just, Veronica's right. It's the start of the pipeline. I think there's been lots of videos on YouTube, so go check them out if you want to watch some more stuff. New Vendetta saying, I think your brother will make a video defending PewDiePie. You need to educate that kid. That's interesting you said, New Vendetta. My brother said he wanted to make a video on it, but he just didn't not understand it in terms of the context enough. So he didn't want to get it wrong, so he didn't make a video on it. And obviously, because you can imagine a lot of my brother's fans might cross over PewDiePie fans. If Pierce comes on saying about how bad it is, I think it would hurt his channel a bit more, to be honest. With me, I can just come on and just start, doing whatever I want. Do you remember the Ferguson riots and Baltimore? Yeah. That was crazy, actually, when it's happened. I remember watching all those videos. You'd think that was like a moment for change. Was it 2014? But it feels like it's just gone the other way. Fun fact: Stalin never once broke Russian law when he came to power. That's interesting. Don't know how much I believe that though. All the people he killed in sham trials, always opposition leaders. And northern Syria. So, but isn't it part of what they're saying is Kurdistan? It's like the border of Turkey. Teaching my pops what breadtube is. He's so adorable and wants to learn. Oh, that's good. What's his politics like? I know a lot of people have parents who have completely different political views to them, which I think we all have. Like, my parents are decent enough. I've talked about it in my political evolution video, how they were fine, like, not having crazy right-wing parents. So, oh yeah, Ian, you're right. Communism has never existed on large scale. Well, communism has never existed. It's socialism with the goal of getting to communism, but it's never going to happen. Banger music, yeah. I can't. What do you want me to do, man? Tell me what it's about. I can't just do it now. I'm on a stream. I can't just watch a video. I can give you the link if you mod me for 1 minute. No. Just tell me what it's about. I don't really care. I'll type it in later and find it. Post the video title. Rojava has the idea of a participatory government like jury duty and supports equal representation of faith and gender and designed to avoid any capital manipulation. It's remarkable. I need to research more about this. It sounds really interesting though. Kurds are quite cool, to be honest, even though I've seen a lot of Kurds on Instagram who love Trump because they think he'll help Kurdistan more, which he definitely won't. So Rayleigh donates because she doesn't have cable or pays YouTube. I just go around progressive channels and have Hulu, so it's the least I can do. Well, thank you anyway. I do really appreciate it. Will you go on the Vosh pit? Vosh is that streamer, isn't he? Yeah, I'd go on that. Vosh or Vaush or whatever the hell his name is. He's quite funny. Yeah, I definitely would go on it. So if you want me on it and you like him, you got to tweet him or post in his comments or his live stream feed. Because I've seen a couple of you in his comments section. Hi Olivia, thanks for joining. Joel says, did you hear about the new sexual assault allegation against Brett Kavanaugh, Conor Kavanaugh's cousin? All right, if you didn't know, my name is Conor Kavanagh. It's spelt different to Brett Kavanaugh. We're not related. Brett Kavanaugh's got a U in it, mine doesn't. Yeah, I saw that. Obviously, nothing's going to get done. Do you guys think it's bullshit in America how to impeach someone you need 2/3 of the Senate? Doesn't that seem like a bit much? And then do you need the vice president to also sign off on it? I don't know. Vosh. It's about killing Tommy Robinson. Okay, yeah, I get it. You should start a Twitch so you can talk with other streamers. New Vendetta. What would a Twitch do for me that I can't do on YouTube? Like, what's it better? Like, why is it better? I mean, we're probably related. Both are Irish. Maybe in some, like, if you trace it all the way back to the Kavanagh clan in Ireland, I forgot what the original. I have looked up what my family history is in terms of like the Kavanaghs. It's some weird Gaelic name. In terms of in Ireland, Kavanaghs are like, it's like not, I wouldn't say it's as common as like John Smith in England, but something Kavanagh. Kavanagh is a super popular name in Ireland. There's two spellings. There's loads of spellings actually. There's Kavanagh like Brett Kavanaugh, but a C. There's one with a C that's like my spelling, and then you have the one like me with a K, and then there's other ones as well. It gets super weird, but obviously that happens just when you move places, your name gets changed. Rojava is highly influenced by Murray Bookchin from Wikipedia. Bookchin formulated and developed the theory of social ecology and urban planning with anarchist, libertarian, socialist, and ecological thought. It sounds sort of anarchist, but yeah, that's super interesting. I need to research this a bit more. It's not just the Kurd, it's multi-faith. The Kurds just protected the area against ISIS with the People's Protection Units. The system is organically developed in the vacuum. That's interesting. So I'm sad that Turkey are going to steamroll them. That's going to suck. Under normal circumstances, I would say the impeachment system is fair, but then McConnell was elected into office and it was all downhill from there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe my perception is warped from all that stuff because, you know, McConnell is made it. He proudly said it's like legislative graveyard, so you can't do anything. So make connection with other streamers, get affiliated, make more money, grow your audience. But how, I don't understand how that would work because, for example, I've got 30 people watching this now. I doubt I could get 30 people watching me on Twitch. I don't know. And also, if you become an affiliate, you can't stream on YouTube anymore. Michael, okay, I know people don't love Sam Harris, but Sam Harris had such a good take on Kavanagh, a kind of like centrist take, but he was like, you know, I don't believe in this innocent. No, I don't believe it's like guilty just because this woman said it. But he's like his conduct in those hearings was basically the conduct of a guilty man. Like no innocent person is acting like that. We're being accused. And he's saying it's someone who's super entitled. Makes me sick actually. America is in that sort of way is sickening, and the brainwashing is so effective. Like the amount of women who support people like that is just blows my mind. There's a new report on INE on 9/11. Yeah, I'm so interested in that topic, Matt. What's the new report about? So Kevin saying PewDiePie fans get easily triggered whenever he's criticised. Anyway, keep up the amazing work. Love your vids. Oh, thanks, Kevin, man. Also, Kevin, I think I noticed you in the comment section attacking them and defending them, which I appreciate. I just like love sitting back, going from like when one of these videos blows up. So I've had ones on like Tommy Robinson, Sargon of Akkad, and obviously the PewDiePie one, some other ones. Obviously, I get brigaded by these fans of these horrible people, but I always appreciate seeing everyone defend it. Not even just defending me, but just attacking the fans back. It's always so good. So yeah, thanks, Kevin. Charles saying Kavanagh is a surname of Irish origin. Yeah, that's it. That weird thing you wrote. It's properly Mac Merchcada. Yeah, it's super complicated. Okay, it's up to the Senate, not the Vice President. What am I thinking about the Vice President? What does he have to sign off on? Or he has like the deciding vote on stuff. Kavanagh WTG on the ranking recognition in football. What is Kavanagh a big name in football? Yes, American football. The principal conclusion of our study is the fire did not cause the collapse of the World Trade Center. Contrary to the conclusion of the NIST. How legit is this report? Because we talked about 9/11 before, didn't we? And I was saying about what I believed in it. Hi, Kennedy. Thanks for joining. So, Rayleigh, I don't stream on Twitch. People keep yelling at me too. I've never even looked at it. I should do that at some point. Rayleigh, like, I know this sounds weird, but it's a reality. Because you're a girl who plays games, and a lot of the Twitch audience are, young men. I think you might find a bit of an audience for yourself. Just keeping it real. Gamer girls do have a better chance in terms of this sort of thing, but obviously, as a girl, you can face just like the worst harassment that boys don't always get. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. So Andy's saying, as far as Turkey, the YPG pulled out immediately to remove the risk of people being attacked, truly protecting the people. It's all worrying though. Yeah, but do you think Turkey would just use the excuse anyway? Like you're allied with them, so we're just gonna come in anyway. Michael saying, I'm convinced dear Mitch hates the Dems being sorry, allowing or following what he's been doing for 2 years. No, he's just super corrupt. Like, isn't Mitch McConnell's wife? Her dad is like some massive Chinese billionaire or something. And do you remember that story? Oh damn! Do you remember that story about all that cocaine they were bringing in on ships? Like someone linked to Mitch McConnell's wife. It was crazy. I forgot exactly what it was, but it was mental when it happened. Annulments clause lawsuit recently got revived. What's that one again? It's obviously Trump's finances. I forget exactly what it is. So Rayleigh saying, a lot of women support all kinds of misogyny. It's beat into them sometimes, literally. Yeah, of course. It's like you get a lot of Muslim women defending enforced niqab and stuff, which is sad. But it's effective brainwashing, isn't it? VP is the tiebreaker vote if needed in the Senate. Oh, okay, that's what I'm thinking of. I'm talking about the trophy. Oh, so there's a Kavanaugh trophy in America. I should get it. Jose saying he's a deciding vote in the case of the Senate tie, as what happened with the confirmation of Betsy DeVos. Oh, okay. Ready saying, sorry, playing on PSN already exposed me to the harassment possible, like 7-year-old boys telling me I should be in the kitchen. Yeah, but when I was younger, like, I don't talk on the headset anymore. I'm not admitting I did something bad. But I remember just everyone would shit talk. Like, a lot of you are like my age and a bit older. Do you remember the glory days of Xbox Live, 2008, 2009? Like, in the lobbies, you would just chat absolute garbage. It was such a cesspool. That makes me think gaming and stuff like PewDiePie, it's always been bad. It's just become, they've all joined together online now, is the problem. So Ian saying, as long as the US is still in northeast Syria, Turkey will stand down there. Yeah, but they're just waiting, aren't they? That's what I feel like anyway. But they pulled out with the promise that Assad would protect them. Okay. Interesting. Annulment, annulments is where the profits of the presidency, like, or making the Air Force stay at his hotel, and was it Pence stayed at a Trump property in Ireland and stuff? He's definitely using it to enrich himself. And Mar-a-Lago, you can't host people there where foreign governments have to pay your business's money, goes directly into your pocket. Michael, I think people like Mitch McConnell probably don't get that emotional about these things in terms of it doesn't dictate their agenda. It's actually just like, what do his donors tell him to do? What does the money tell him to do? Oh, you got the trophy on PS4. Oh, okay. Oh, I was playing Pro Evolution, but you put an American football on there. Yeah, I got the trophy on PS4 because I was playing PES last night. I don't know what trophy I got. Rayleigh, are you going to get Death Stranding? Turnpost. Actually, Turnpost, I saw you write something earlier. I didn't read it. Am I on live chat? Here's a good question for people. Turnpost. Who do you support? I haven't watched EPL for years now. How's Man U? Man U or Manchester United, because if you're a real fan, you don't say Man U or United. Not doing too great. Since Alex Ferguson left 2013, we have Solskjaer now, who's obviously club legend, scored the winning goal for our treble. I'm excited about the future, but I'm prepared for a season of hurt this season. So we bought Harry Maguire. We bought this guy called Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who are good English young players. Our defence looks way better. Pogba's going to leave, but yeah, we'll see. I'm optimistic for the future. Daniel James, we signed from Swansea, is a beast though. Sorry, Ton Post, you said something else. Will I go on the Vosh pit? Oh, you asked me earlier. Here's a good question for people. Someone tweeted this, and I just replied to it. He was like, has the world always been this shitty, or has it got worse? Like, what we're seeing now with Trump and just the general state of the world, is it worse now? But then I said, surely it would be worse either in the War on Terror, 2003 to about, let's say, 2010, or the Cold War. It's actually worse then, but people just weren't exposed to it as much, because when you read about Vietnam is just like insane, like it's like evil shit what the CIA and America were doing. And I think it's pretty unparalleled. I think Vietnam might have been the worst thing America's ever done. And that's talking about all the shit they've always done. But when you read some of the stuff about Vietnam, the CIA having guerrilla groups just going around Indochina, killing whoever they want, all these awful war crimes, massacres, chemical weapons. Martin Luther King said it was like what the Nazis were doing, and it's hard to disagree with him. It's actually the worst shit ever I've ever read, and the scale of it, like Rolling Thunder, Linebacker 1, Linebacker 2, it's just absolutely mental. Targeting civilians in that manner in the 70s, it's not World War II, 1939. It's 1973 they're doing this, obliterating civilian areas of North Vietnam. With like, how can America drop more bombs on Vietnam than the whole of bombs dropped in the whole of World War Two? Doesn't that just blow your mind? Think of World War Two, 1939 to 1945. Think of like the Blitz. Think of the RAF bombings of Germany throughout the war. Think of the bombings of Tokyo, the bombings of Japan, and all the bombings the Germans and the Russians did to each other. The Americans did more bombings than all of them together in about, let's say, 1963 to 1973. That just blows my mind, and on such a concentrated area as well. The way that conservatives try and rehabilitate Vietnam since Reagan is disgusting. The thing is as well, World War Two, they had some justification for targeting civilians in terms of that was just the way the war was fought. It was total war. Everyone was involved. The reason you targeted civilians is because civilians were mobilised to manufacture the armaments. So that's why you targeted civilian areas, and obviously to sap morale. What was America's reason for Vietnam? We got to bomb farmers into oblivion because Vietnam might turn socialist, and we promised them they could have their own independence in 1945. It just Vietnam just gets me riled up. It's just so disgusting and depressing. I feel so bad for that country. And obviously they're so welcoming to like a lot of people now. Like my girlfriend's been, and my friends are there. Literally all my friends are there at the moment, for 3 months, and it's just sad what they did to that country. Oh, okay, you put it because you just put football and that's what came up. Logan saying PewDiePie can get away with nearly anything because of popularity. Yeah, exactly. He's like, it's like too big to fail YouTube channel. I actually think the eradication of the plains of Native Americans is probably the worst thing the US did. Vietnam's a close second there. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't know. That is bad and awful. It's kind of like, where would you rank it? It's just, they're both awful things. I guess this... I don't know how many natives there were, but America killed like, was it like 3 million Vietnamese people? I wonder how many natives they killed. Probably more than that though. Is Hardy Box worth a watch? It's like the UK counterpart of the Trailer Park Wars. I've never watched it, to be honest. I'm not massive on a lot of these UK things. Andy's saying, I think it's pretty much the same. A bomb every 12 minutes. They just don't put US lives in danger as much. It's totally mechanised. Oh, in terms of today we're talking about. Conservatives have no shame. Yeah, exactly. Rayleigh, Iraq for sale. I was glad Kyle said that. Said, watch that. Like I knew it was bad, but it's worse than I understood it. What's the context of that? You're saying Iraq for sale. Mike's saying the CIA likes to spread a message of fear so you don't fight against them. It's a low success rate. Yeah, exactly. Superdog Logan, for me at least, Vietnamese culture and the people survived. Several Native Americans were killed and several cultures were eradicated. Yeah, that's a good point, Logan. It's like proper genocide, isn't it? Whereas maybe you could describe the Vietnam War as a genocide. I don't know the strict definition, but yeah, like you're saying, the people and the culture survived it. It's just like devastating war, though. Libya was just as shocking. The thing is, I don't think Libya wasn't as bad as Vietnam in terms of with Libya. It's like they unleashed these jihadis. Obviously, back then the UK government specifically did this as well, but the scale of the killing was just it's just not on the same level at all. Um, but yeah, the CIA also helped kill Che Guevara. There was a CIA guy there, witnessed his execution. Thatcher first met Reagan one-on-one in 75 at the House of Commons in London. Oh, that's interesting. Was Reagan governor of California in 1975 or not? Yeah, okay, yeah, you said he was. And he wrote a letter to her as the opposition leader in Parliament. Oh, okay. And how do they torture their own soldiers? I mean, like specifically in this instance, are we talking about? Yeah, ton post. That's interest. That's an interesting point you bring up. I think the rationale is, let's take a country like India for example, right? So India, you'd say it's in top 10 countries in the world in terms of maybe global power. But the whole of the Indian government and systems, especially the administrative systems, is all based on the infrastructure left behind by the British, and whether that is a lot of trains, roads, just the legal system, even a lot of their politics is influenced by the British system. So I guess people's argument is because the British left that all behind, it was worth them, owning India well, directly owning India since 1858, pretty much owning India through the East India Company since the 1700s. So I guess that's people's rationale. I don't know if there's any Indians who would agree with that, but in terms of other things, so you have obviously the partition. 1 million people died from Hindus going to India and Muslims going to Pakistan because they started butchering each other. All these people died, and whether it's the Indian mutiny or the Indian War of it, the first Indian War of Independence, as they like to call it in India. So I guess that's what people's rationale is. But I think India is a case where they might have benefited, but obviously it's caused sectarianism. The British divide and rule has caused sectarianism that still lasts today, and the exact same thing happens in Israel and Palestine. The British mandate for Palestine was the origins of the modern state of Israel. Assad being in power in Syria is directly traced back to the French rule of Syria in the 20s. And basically, he's a minority, Assad. He's an Alawite sect Muslim, which is Shia, but it's a certain sect of Shia Islam. And I think most people in Syria are Sunni, I think they're Sunni Arabs. I don't know if they're just Sunni Muslims, maybe they're Sunni Arabs as well. And basically, he's put in power. They empower the minority to make it easier to control them. The minority are often, they get the Western education, so they're basically puppets. So Ziem in Vietnam, Catholic, Western educated, and he becomes the leader of Vietnam, which is a Buddhist majority country, South Vietnam. And what does he do? He oppresses the Buddhists. And that's what they always do. So when Gandhi went to prison during World War II because they didn't want him inciting the Indians against the British, they then allied more with Jinnah, who became the first president of Pakistan, and they helped him create Pakistan, because Pakistan wasn't always on the table, because Jinnah and the Hindus were working together to get independence, but then he just thought there's no reconciliation between them, they've got to have their own countries. But also, what was I going to say? I had one more point to make. Sorry, I'll read some comments, I've seen them all popping up. So East India Company was just playing corrupt with a blank check. Michael, did you watch Taboo with Tom Hardy on BBC? And he's saying, I don't think you can compare it in that way. You must take into account the suffering of the aftermath, which continue for generations. Yeah, the things I've been talking about just now about the sectarianism. Ian Chapman saying, I am trying to understand India more. How bad is the BJP? Is calling them fascist correct? Yeah, Ian is correct. Let me just read the rest of the comments. I'll come back to this point. Ton Post saying, I've seen some of Colonial's descriptions on the native people of their culture and descriptions in... I've seen kind of Colonial's description of the native people of their culture and descriptions is kind of one-sided. What do you mean, Ton Post? Oh, I'm reading Top Chat. I'm sorry. It went back to Top Chat. I definitely missed some comments. I apologise. Sorry. Alright, here we go, I got it back. So Coltrane saying, just stopping by and say, your PewDiePie vid was some good shit and the haters are either stand, so you can't take the accountability of it, idol, all rise. Yeah, thanks Coltrane. Obviously, yeah, a lot of them are just obsessed with him. You see it across anything, really. It's not just politics. Like PewDiePie, I don't understand the obsession with him and how hostile they are to me, and they're not really even willing to engage with the argument. And like in Iraq, where areas are eradicated from any ammunition, be causing birth defects and cancer for decades, you can't just put the wars on a scale of how bad they are. Yeah, okay, I agree with that. But even in like Colombia, for example, a couple of years ago, they had the second most landmine deaths in the world after Afghanistan, because FARC could obviously lay the countryside with landmines. You mean, Ton, do you mean the culture and religion of the natives is taught wrong by colonialists? Thanks, Coltrane, I appreciate it. Yeah, is the BJP fascist? I'm actually want to make a video on this, on Modi. Basically, I'll get into this. So, the RSS, it's an Indian name, I can't say it, so I'm not going to try. The RSS is a militant Hindu nationalist group, right? It was founded in, I think, the late 1800s. Godse, who was the guy who killed Gandhi, was a member of them, like quite a fairly prominent member. So basically, the context of Gandhi's assassination is that India was not giving Pakistan vital aid they'd promised them. So Gandhi said, "I'm going to go on a hunger strike until you give Pakistan that aid." So eventually, India, the Congress and Nehru, they're like, "We're not going to let Gandhi die. Here, Pakistan, here's your aid." So Hindu nationalists believe that's a pretty outrageous them using their resources to help Pakistan. But Hindu nationalists believes that to be Indian, you must be Hindu. To be Hindu, you must be an Indian. It's sort of, little cycle. So Godse was like, I can't have Gandhi holding us hostage and helping the Muslims. I'm going to kill Gandhi. So Godse killed Gandhi. The RSS is the militant wing. The BJP is the political wing. So the RSS was banned in the 1970s, but the current Prime Minister of India, Modi, was in the RSS, right? Then he changed to the BJP, and a lot of people in the BJP, they pledged themselves to the party. So I think Modi, I don't know if he's celibate now, but he was celibate for most of his life, no women, nothing like that, just dedicated to the BJP politics and spreading them everywhere. And he's a super shady guy in terms of how anti-Muslim he is. But basically, one thing's the BJP like to throw around is race traitor. If Gandhi was a race traitor because he tried to help Pakistan. If you try and help the Muslims, you're a race traitor to India. So it's proper fascist ideology. So it makes me sick when I see what's her name, that Chopra who's married to Nick Jonas. They had Modi at their wedding. Bear Grylls had Modi on his show. Tulsi Gabbard always talks about how good Modi is. They're talking about how good fascism is. And because I think he's Indian, he's non-white, either people don't understand you can be fascist, and I think people don't understand India enough as well. But you can be fascist and non-white. And when he was the governor of Gujarat, which is his home state, he let a massacre of Muslims go on for 3 days, and people came out later saying he knew all about it and he let it go on. And India always has stuff like this. It's like when Indira Gandhi, the Prime Minister of India in 1984, was assassinated by her Sikh bodyguards because she was oppressing the Sikhs. They let a riot in what's the place called? It's the same place, Amritsar, same place the British massacred some Sikhs. They let this riot in Amritsar go on for 7 days, and the police did nothing. Just let Hindu mobs just kill so many Sikh people for 7 days because they killed the Prime Minister. So India has a massive problem with this sectarianism, but the BJP has just been getting more prominent in recent years. So yeah, it's right to call the BJP fascist, definitely. So, America overthrew the government of Greece in 1968 and replaced it with a brutal military junta just because the Communist Party won the seat in Parliament. The US is quite anti-democracy. Yeah, that's putting it lightly. But literally do that in Central America all the time. Even before World War II, the Americans are just backing all these fascists in Central America. Cav, just watch Iraq for Sale when you get the chance. Okay, I will. Damn, Indian politics is crazy. Yeah. I'm American, so I can't really talk about insane politics. It shares some similarities, I guess. Libya also, Andy's saying, Libya also has some landmine issues. There's some documentaries on YouTube that follows the volunteers that disarm them. It's terrifying, that get no external help. Yeah, you have to be batshit to do stuff like that. In the way they do it in Colombia, I watched a documentary on it. They get dogs to sniff it out, and then I think they throw some rocks at it to try and set it off. Sometimes, and then they go up to it and disarm it. And they go around with the metal detector. It's actually, you have to be so crazy for that. Who's Nico House? He's started defending Modi. Criticism of India is being pushed by certain groups. Tulsi Gabbard is such a hypocrite. If you're saying Bangladesh and Pakistan have problems of religious persecution, but then you're talking about how great Modi is, who literally oversaw a massacre of Muslims since he's become prime minister, and his laws against people eating beef, loads of Muslims have been lynched in India. So maybe talk about that, Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard seems like not real. She seems like she's. Does anyone feel the way she speaks is just kind of strange? Like if you watch her on Joe Rogan, she doesn't seem authentic. Do you know what I mean? Like she seems. It's like a video game character who's more robotic. And if you read about her life, which is super interesting by the way, there's a really good New York Times article where she's in some like surfing cult with her family. This like surfer bro who was some sort of a Hare Krishna. Her and her family were all in it. It's absolutely mental. Make a good film. It'd make a good Quentin Tarantino film, I think, actually. Really likes Tulsi a lot, but you're not vicious about it. Modi has and always will see Muslims as the great invader. Well, if he's following his buddy Godse, who killed Gandhi, he sees any Indians who help Muslims as race traitors, so... Coltrane, people assume leftists are okay with isolationists, fascist ethno-states as long as they're not in majority white countries. Like, no, fascism is always bad. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I also think mainly is a complete lack of understanding of different parts of the world helps as well. Because India, for example, especially non-white countries, white media or Western media and white countries don't tend to care about non-white countries. Let's keep it real. We don't know, like, what can the average person tell you about modern day India or modern day China or modern day Japan in terms of like a real political level? Really nothing. Most people couldn't tell you who the leader of these countries are. Most people couldn't tell you, what sort of parties dominate what, countries. But that's because we don't care about it. Really, we know all about Western politics, but it goes even further. European politics, people in this country don't know the first thing about European politics. So it's a lack of education, but I don't think it's loads of people's fault. Our media doesn't actually focus on a lot of these things. Yeah, Andy, she does support Modi. She has quite, like, in terms of, she was part of the people who welcomed him to the United States in 2014. She's talked like quite positively about him and hasn't condemned him ever, while condemning, like I said, Bangladesh and Pakistan. Kennedy's pretty vicious about Tulsi and Nico. I was going to call you 47 from now on because I can't read out all the numbers every time. 47. You're our 47th president. That's why you got those numbers. Why am I saying I'm not American. America really hates socialists. I don't understand why. Maybe because socialism can take care of poor people. All you got to know about America is Christianity, capitalism, and they've always just scared people against, helping voting for their own interests. Obviously, you had the Red Scare in the 20s in America, but you also had, obviously, the Red Scare in the 50s. And it's basically this ideology that capitalism, Christianity helped us win World War II. We're the best now. Look at us. socialism is bad. It's gonna hurt your freedom essentially, because your country's gonna look like Stalin's Russia or something. And it hates it obviously because rich people dominate America. It's like they asked Smedley Butler to oversee a coup of Roosevelt because he was helping the poor people. It's always been like that. You know, what else do you expect on a state that was founded as a slave state by a bunch of rich capitalists? Not only that, it has massive elements of insane Christians in the country as well that fled there from England. So fascism isn't always bad, but the US aren't the world police. They can try and pretend sometimes. Yeah, I think the problem is for me, obviously you've got to have relationships with places like India. People like Tulsi don't, and that's why I think it's problematic. Kenny saying, Nico told me I'm not a real leftist because I have a joke about cultural Marxism in my Twitter bio. Leftists can be so vicious to each other. She is fake, a badly informed socialism. Charles saying, as soon as I met Governor Reagan, I knew that we were of a like mind, and manifestly so did he. We shared a rather unusual philosophy, and we share many things else as well. It's not surprising them two gave us the current state of the world. My friend Cole debated him last week, and it was funny. What did they debate about? Andy, it doesn't really seem like nonsense. Why is it fake? They literally talked to people who knew her growing up, and that guy was real. Maybe it was exaggerated, but the reporter documents talking to these people who knew her. She speaks diplomatically. She's peaceful. She was raised fucked up, but I believe seeing the war did open her eyes. She did the interview about specifics of the military-industrial complex. I'm not saying she doesn't have value. I just I don't understand why all these people have flocked to her. Sometimes I think people just try to out-left each other. It's like, but Jimmy Dore or Kim Irvinson, who I don't like anyway, but just all saying they support Tulsi now over Bernie, which I don't understand. It's not a smear. Guru is a creep. He said Sam Cedar, Michael Brooks want to have a nuclear world war. What the hell? Really saying, like McCain said, we agree on some things, like everyone should have guns, but instead of even correcting her policy, Tulsi ignored her and stayed on top of it. I don't know. She spoke both sides nonsense about what's going on in Kashmir. Yeah, that was the other thing. Kashmir. I was reading her stuff about that. Ice Planet Hoff saying, Kavanagh will always say what I think, and I learned so much from just listening to you. Thank you. Oh, thanks a lot, man. Or woman. I think you're a man because you got Fred Flintstone, but if you're a girl, I apologise. But yeah, thanks. That's very nice of you to say. Kennedy thinks Tulsi is evil and courting fascists. I don't know if I'd necessarily agree with that, but yeah, you can have your own opinion. Ian James said, just read the article about Tulsi and her ties to the BJP. Tulsi seems to be in bed with the BJP and RSS. There's many photos showing evidence of this, and there's one of her wearing a BJP scarf. Article in August, issue of Caravan, All in the Family, the American Sang Affair of Tulsi Gabbard. That's super interesting. I didn't know the ties of that deal. I knew she was part of the group that was welcoming them to America, and I know she's helped them get more influence in America. Who is Tommy Robinson? Tommy Robinson is basically a football thug in England from Luton, who he used to be the head of the EDL or the deputy head of the EDL, and then he said he didn't want to be in them anymore, tried to reform himself, just saying he's anti-Islam basically. But instead of just being anti-Islam, which if you're an atheist like me, we're anti-Islam, we're anti-Christianity, he just makes it super racist. So for him, being against Islam is being against grooming gangs, because of course that is all Islam is to him, people like him. So it's about this racist view about Muslims being barbarians. So yeah, he's just a fascist guy in the UK. Got banned off Twitter though, which is good. So Rayleigh saying, okay, no, I'm talking to someone else. And he's saying, I do have issues with Tulsi not supporting BDS, and Nico's a clown, but I live in the UK, so it doesn't really matter what I think. It does matter, otherwise it doesn't matter what I think either. The rich like socialism when they benefit, they just don't want it for anyone else. Yeah, they love the taxpayer. Well, obviously it's not socialism, it's more socialising their, tax breaks or bailouts, but they don't love it when you're giving people more rights or more of a safety net. Yeah, really, I guess that's true, but you got to make a stand at some point, really. What was her reasoning for not supporting it? I forget. Well, doesn't Jimmy Dore support Tulsi over Bernie now? I'm pretty sure she does. He does. And I know Kim Irvington likes Tulsi more. So, on the story, the reporter connected to a neighbour of the family that Gabbard family reported as a paedophile. Okay, so it's sketchy as hell. I still believe a lot of it because even if you don't believe everything they say about Tulsi, that cult was real, and she was in it. So I'm not saying it's anything bad. It's just crazy. It's not something that's super disqualifying. 'Cause she's obviously, doesn't have a lot of the positions, especially the anti-gay stuff that she used to be. Ice Planet Hot Hoff saying, I'm from Hawaii. I dislike Hawaiian politicians because they're corrupt. I don't really know much about Tulsi. The one good Hawaiian politician, I forgot his name. The Japanese guy who fought in World War Two. Keep forgetting his name. People who support Tulsi over Bernie don't understand politics. I just don't understand how she's better than him, is my problem. Luton Town. Yeah, Luton Town is the local football team. I think he was a football hooligan for in Luton and fan towns. For Luton Town. Tommy Robinson made a career out of hating Muslims, yeah. Football meaning soccer. Yeah, we're talking about soccer, not football. Because, nearly every country in the world calls soccer football, apart from America. You have to try and take it their special game. I think it even goes more than that. Anti-Islam meaning anti-Arab, but anti-all. Because obviously people in the UK, the word Paki, which is a slur coming from Pakistani, but people get called Paki if you're Indian, if you're Arab, if you're from Central Asia. And I think distilling what it means to be called a Paki in this country, I think shows you the sort of what anti-Islam actually means to these people. It's not about them hating the ideology of Islam, it's that they're hating brown people who look, colloquially, people call it Paki. All these groups just form one of brown, and that's what they hate. Yeah, Jimmy Dore supports Tulsi over Bernie. He has to be blocked on Twitter. why did he block you again? I know you told me. She's making a stand with BDS by sticking to her guns and the whole foreign policy diplomatic candidate thing. I don't know why anyone was surprised. Yeah, that's fair enough. Dore is dumb. Anytime I watch that he's wasted, I stop watching him now. I still go back for the prank calls sometimes, because they are really funny. Andy's saying she's the most anti-war, that's why JD supports her, although Bernie's getting stronger in foreign policy. Thankfully, JD was disappointed by Bernie supporting Hillary, but he still supports him. Yeah, but Bernie wasn't going to not support Hillary. Jimmy Dore lives in a weird world. As much as I like him sometimes, I've gone off him a bit, because he's super aggressive to everyone. Like, there comes a point, I guess, when you've got to kind of be a bit more diplomatic. Not that you've got to like everyone, but he goes after the wrong people. He goes after people who pretty much agree with him on most things. Just a tiny bit, they wouldn't. And then he, goes off on them on Twitter. She's not anti-war. Well, she's not totally anti-war, is she? Like, war and terror stuff. Tommy Robinson has a black godson. It doesn't mean he's not racist. Bernie had to support Hillary. Why anyone would question that? But I voted for her because I didn't want Trump. At this point, I'm glad he beat it because people are opening their eyes. Yeah, I think that is the one good side effect of Trump. Jimmy supports it because Bernie doesn't go on his channel. I like when people finally calling out Warren. Don't want it to take them so long. Let's keep it real though. Warren is still better than nearly everyone else, even if she's not great. No, Joel, a black person would never get called a Paki. But Indian, Pakistani, Afghani, most Arabs. I think Somalis maybe, but I don't know. I grew up. I went to school in a really diverse area, so yeah, it's obviously a slur, isn't it? But so Annie's saying, I think it was talking about Jimmy Dore. He's refreshing and non-partisan. Don't always agree, but I like his anarchy in the sea of partisan bullshit. Well, I subscribed to his channel for about 6 years maybe, and I've always sort of liked it, but he can just be. Sometimes I just get annoyed. I've talked about this before. Like what people, I saw someone again on Twitter saying the CIA created Al Qaeda, and it got like thousands of retweets. And these are like some of the most prominent Twitter voices on the left wing. And you got to be a bit better than this sometimes. Like, why are you just saying stuff that's just not true? I don't understand. Like this sort of mindset that the US is behind everything bad. I know the US has so much shit, and you don't need to, you guys will know what I feel about the US in general. But this mindset that they're responsible for everything bad that's ever happened. They created Al Qaeda. They gave Bin Laden all the money in the world, all the weapons he wanted. It just didn't happen. Not to the best of our knowledge. So trotting it out as it's facts all the time, like Hassan Piker does the exact same thing. And I don't know if that's me being too nitpicky, but you hate it you hate when conservatives lie. So just try and be a bit better. And I don't know if it got to Hassan, because I was saying about the Bin Laden thing, and then some other people were saying it. So when he started talking with Cenk, he didn't say it again. He didn't say the US trained Bin Laden, even though he said that in the original tweet about America deserving 9/11. So maybe it got through to him, but this other guy started saying it. So, so Jimmy Dore does not understand the condition for an independent to run a DNC ticket is that he promises to support the nominee. All right. The CIA has done some nasty shit. Creating Al Qaeda is not one of them. Yeah, exactly. Warren is a horrible dude, please. And the Native American thing was for her law school. I didn't know it, but to see it written on there, like, come on, I didn't see that from Nico, but it's not fake. Wasn't the Native American thing that she thought she was Native American because her parents told her or something, and she never questioned it properly? Yeah, I see Jimmy's point of view in making a new party. I think if this is what I think should happen. If Warren wins a nomination or anyone else, Bernie should wait until after the election and then form a new party. If he is Bernie up for re-election in 2020 for Senate? Because if he is, that's when he should make his own new party. Nothing to lose then. See if you can get like some of the young Democrats in with you to launch it, I think. Who knows though, because if Biden is the nominee, then definitely start a new party. I don't know about if Warren is the nominee. Hail Romy Tomlinson. Hi Mac. Thanks for joining. The only one who doesn't suck is Bernie. Brady saying, I won't vote for Warren at my first female protest. Fuck that, especially since voted for Hillary. I feel sick still. Every white person in America has native ancestry, and we all think that means something, but it doesn't. But she was saying she was specifically related to one tribe, I think, wasn't she? Bernie just won his seat in 2018, I think. Because Bernie wins so easily, it's kind of hard to remember. Okay. Our whole system is designed to keep third parties from growing. It's crazy that Bill Clinton didn't win a majority, I think, in both of his elections, because I don't know who did better. Did Ralph Nader do better or Ross Perot do better? But they probably was like, oh, we can't have this happen again. He split the vote so much. Ralph Nader's These people were both better than Bill Clinton. No, Ross Perot weren't, but Ross Perot did. He gave Bernie that massive gun, so that makes him okay in my book. No, I'm joking. I don't know enough about him. I'm not endorsing Ross Perot, even though he died a couple months ago. But yeah, Ralph Nader seems like a decent guy. He has a YouTube channel actually. Which one's the guy who got seatbelts? Is it Ross Perot or is it Ralph Nader? Who made seatbelts the law? And he's saying, I mean, Americans are shocked when they see how many parties we have here. It's chaos right now. The US could deal with that. It's good. I don't like the infighting, but it's nice to have SNP. I like the SNP as an alternative to Labour. I don't like the Lib Dems as an alternative to Labour, but they're a nice alternative to the Tories. And then you have centrist Tories as well. I think the parliamentary system just works better in many ways. Like America think they have this perfect system, and even without the money in politics, I don't know even if it's better. The president, I guess, has too much power and not enough scrutiny. You can hide away as a president. Like, look at Boris Johnson having to get all this abuse every week from Labour, Lib Dems, SNP. Trump has not had to face anyone, which is pretty crazy. Sorry, just typing something. But the bad thing about UK politics is proportional representation, which is annoying. I think that's what we should change the House of Lords into. Nader, I'm thinking of. Okay. Sorry, I missed a couple. Okay, not Warren's family slaughtered the specific tribe she claimed. Okay, who uncovered this? Ian saying starting a viable third party that can get all 50 states for the presidential race is almost impossible. Even the Green Party has not done this. Yeah, American politics is so fucked. Let's be honest. Riley saying not like most of the heritage doesn't come from rape. Oh yeah, that's another bit as awful, isn't it? Wounded Knee. Oh my god! If you read about Wounded Knee, it is actually one of the most disgusting things I have ever fucking read. I don't even want to talk about the specifics I'm thinking of. The fact that people got medals for this, and Trump talks about wait, who was the president when Wounded Knee? Wounded Knee's 1890, isn't it? Who was the president then? Is it Grover Cleveland? Someone let me know. But it's literally one of the most messed up things I've read, and the fact that it's like it was celebrated at the time. Warren would be destroyed by Trump with smears and attacks. I think she would have faced a hard time. In Bioshock Infinite, your character was like the King Slaughter at Wounded Knee. But I don't think that game does justice how fucking awful Wounded Knee was. She'd probably lose because of the Pocahontas thing. Maybe, but I don't know. I think she could still win, with Democrats being galvanized with the Trump stuff. Left is love, left is best. Yeah, apart from when you get into a fight with Tulsi and Bernie supporters, and it's vicious. Who's Stuart Varney, Michael? Is he a MP? Yes, Trump is scared of Bernie. Yeah, I think he is as well. And he's saying, Michael, I think political parties are the problem. It's anti-democratic. I haven't voted for a non-independent until Corbyn, and that's because I trust him and he has great policies. Yeah, I agree with that. Like, as someone who wants to go into politics, it's so hard to become an MP if you're not in one of the parties. But if you are in one of the parties, you have to grovel so much to the parties, which is annoying. Oh, okay. Both parties have sued the Libertarians and the Greens to keep them out. Yeah, deep down he knows if it came one on one with Bernie, his fake populism wouldn't work. Bernie's so right on so many things; it'd be so hard to really like attack him properly in a one on one. America is so evil. Wounded Knee is shocking. Yeah, it's fucking awful. Right, if Warren's fam killed the tribe, there are some women who actually of that tribe in an interview will have to dig it out. Bioshock is life. Yeah, Bioshock is good. All of them are pretty good, to be honest. Guild Wars, no. A lot of Bernie and Tulsi supporters, I'm just saying, they all hate each other. Trump just has to say Pocahontas on loop and he will win against Warren. I don't know. Is America that fickle? Maybe. Varney is a Fox News hack that spews right-wing economic bullshit. Okay. That's why I don't know. Oh, he's English. Oh, I don't know who he is. The business expert on Fox. He's a cunt already. Just ate some veggie dumplings and they're very, very bad. What's a veggie dumpling? Like a dumpling made out of vegetables? Evil little man. Okay, Charles telling me as well. Oh, it hasn't popped up on this chat yet. Yeah, Stuart Varney is a British American talk show host and conservative political commentator who works with Fox News. Do you just paste from the Wikipedia or something, Joel? Oh, okay, there's a lot of you still supporting Tulsi and Bernie. It's a dumpling with tofu in it. Why would you put a tofu in a dumpling? Is it like a vegan dumpling? Dumplings I normally have are just made out of flour and something else. I want a donut. I already had a massive cookie dough dessert thing today. I haven't had dinner yet, even though it's nearly 3:30. See what's in the fridge. But, oh yeah, can someone help me out? Has anyone ever had a migraine with aura? Let me know in the chat comments. I was asking on Twitter about it because I had a really bad migraine attack on Tuesday morning. Legit thought I was going to die. Not joking. I thought I was going to die. I thought I was having a stroke. Oh, Kennedy, you've had one. Do you have it continually? Because I'm just worried about my symptoms. So how often do you get them? It's like when your vision goes funny. So basically, last Tuesday, I was just about to go to bed, or Tuesday, about to go to bed, and then my vision went all funny, and I couldn't read properly, and it was really confusing. And I woke up with a massive pain in my head, like a migraine, but it was really specific to there. And since then, I've just felt like complete shit. Is this something that happens? You just feel awful for like days afterwards. So the first couple of days afterwards, I had such bad fatigue and my muscles just ached so badly and my head really felt heavy. And then even today, I don't feel great, but I felt a lot more normal. I felt quite good actually waking up. I stopped playing football because the thought of header in the ball makes me feel ill because my head hurts. Oh, okay. Thanks for this. It's making me feel a bit better because I really needed to ask someone about this. I'm going to the doctor on Thursday. So the people who were saying about the migraines, what's the worst like sort of I guess like a migraine hangover you've had? Because I don't have a migraine at the moment. Like my head doesn't hurt, but it feels like I don't want to. Like the thought of like maybe like getting hit in the head makes me feel awful. Like it just feels a bit heavy, and it feels hot as well to my touch. And yeah, just my whole like muscles have not been great lately. I haven't done because I normally exercise quite a lot, doing football, running, and weights and things. But I haven't done anything since Monday just because I felt like garbage, and I've been sleeping loads as well. But I've been a bit better the last 2 days. So it's consistent migraine. Okay, even if my head isn't actually hurting, like I'm not in pain right now. It's still a migraine. You guys think? My my YouTube doctors. My video is 20 seconds behind. I don't know if there's some sort of delay. Sounds like a seizure. Well, because someone in my family has something similar and the symptoms look painless migraine. Okay, that's interesting. I have felt a bit better today, but I still felt quite tired. Vomiting and looking at any light afterwards is not fun. Someone's going to last for a week. Okay. All right, thanks for all the migraine advice. It was kind of scary. Like, I kind of made peace with dying. I was like, I'm fucking gonna die when I go to sleep. I was so scared. But it really hurt. And I'm just hoping I'll wake up this week at some point and I'll just feel fine. Maybe it's the flu. Yeah, Leopard, I thought that too. Yeah, Michael, been taking shitloads of ibuprofen and paracetamol. Not obviously one after the other. Yeah, I thought the headache defined the migraines. It does not. I was reading a lot about it on the Reddit, and they all said it didn't, like, always have it. So I gotta say, I really hope I don't have them properly, because it sounds so awful. Oh man, that sounds so shit, Kennedy. It makes you puke. Oh, okay, they tell you not to take ibuprofen. Maybe I'll try not to take it for a bit. I didn't. I only took 2 today though. Caffeine. Okay. I had a constant migraine for over a year. How did it make you feel for the whole year, Sarah? Like super awful. It has caffeine. I don't actually drink much caffeine. I just had a coffee actually, so hopefully that helps. But yeah, so thanks for all the migraine advice. I'm just streaming, but you can do whatever. All right, so last topic. We'll do one more, because how long I'm going to go in? All right, let's say let's go for 2 hours then. I get 20 more minutes, maybe. So you took migraine. You had migraines. You took feverfew. It worked. I had a plant. What's a plant? Are you talking about like weed or something? Okay, some period cramping drug. They got caffeine and antihistamines. Okay, ibuprofen's bad. Yeah, it's good for. I was thinking like I'm glad I didn't have a full-time job this week because I just. But the thing is, I did my articles fine in the end, and I sat at a desk doing loads of work on Friday, but the thought of like going outside has become so much worse. I'm gonna go for a run tomorrow and see how I feel because I want to play football again, but the thought of playing at the moment, I just feel so tired. Weed always helps everything. Honestly, I was seriously thinking like, am I gonna have to take am I gonna have to like eat weed brownies or something if I get migraines forever? Even though I really don't want to. Uh, yeah, that sounds shit, Sarah. I really hope I don't have that. I wouldn't be surprised though, just because of my head being hot. Um, so easy on the ace. Sorry, I can't read that one. People's levels were shut down for taking too many over a couple of weeks. Okay, I won't take that. Thankfully, I've never had a migraine. I never did until Tuesday. Mushrooms work against migraines. I really don't want to take these drugs. What's a feverfew plant? Weed doesn't help. It makes me sicker. Probably depends on the kind. I'm always worried that I'm going to develop chronic migraine because as time goes on, I get them more and more frequently. Yeah, it's scary, isn't it? It's so awful. Don't play football till you've had an MRI. Um, well, I don't think I'm going to get an MRI unless it was private because I don't think the NHS would recommend that I get one and wouldn't want to pay for it. We'll see what happens on Thursday when I go to the doctors. But I'll see. I got training on Thursday. If I feel better, I'll go. You can get pills though. I just used to eat the leaves. Okay. Okay. Right. You're not violent soccer people, I'm guessing. Well, soccer is a contact sport. You can get really badly injured, and obviously I have to head of the ball if it comes to that. And just at the moment, the thought of doing that isn't fun. Obviously, you can get smacked in the head. Like, I've been punched in the face, not on purpose, but like people have like whacked me in the face, like hit me over properly and stuff. So it's not a great idea. But I'm more worried about my muscles and just the sluggishness and people saying the tiredness. So we'll see. Your best bet is doing something to help you sleep through the worst of the headache. The thing is, that's the thing I'm worried about. Like Sarah saying, like a constant migraine, but I don't have like my head doesn't actually hurt. It just feels a bit heavy. Like it just doesn't feel. I just don't feel 100% right. If that makes sense. Rather than my head pounding all the time. Like if I feel it now, it's just a bit hot, like not normal temperature. So we'll see. So Sarah said that I have a neurological disease, so it's unlikely to get as bad as me. Ibuprofen is what is usually recommended. Migraine pain is usually from constricted blood vessels. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know what triggered it, to be honest. Would I play US football if it came to UK? No, they do at university. It's American football's pretty big, but I never. I wanted to play it, but then someone told me how boring it was, and I just didn't go. Um, oh, okay, can you? Where can you buy them, Andy? and you just eat the leaves. Mandatory helmets on soccer players. Matt, that is actually interesting. There's a guy who played for Man United and England in the 60s. So he won the World Cup and the Champions League. Really famous player. He got dementia quite early, and his son believes it's because he headed the soccer ball so much. And now they're doing research into now until you're, I think, 13, you can't header a soccer ball. In the rules are in a game of football for kids, you can't header a soccer ball anymore because they're scared there are impacts on your head. A lot of players are screwed though, because I headed the ball. I love heading the ball. I'm pretty good at it as well. So, the only meds that helped me through the blood pressure medication to raise my BP, Ritalin and a shot. I have to give myself once a month. I also get fevers as one of my auras. Yeah, it sucks. It's so annoying. It's not even based on like lifestyle. I was thinking if I get this for good, I've been so good in terms of health, like food, not smoking, barely drinking, not doing drugs, and then if I just get some shitty health thing like this, it'd be so depressing. What are your position on sports, Kennedy? You'd like Liverpool Football Club. They're really socialist. They absolutely hate the Conservatives. They are weeds that grow in the countryside, but you'll get them pills from health food type places and probably chemists, 100% natural. So fever plant. I'm going to go look for them this week. American football is worse, yeah, exactly, because you're obviously smacking into each other all the time. American football is better. No, it's not. It sucks. Spend 4 hours to watch like the plays stop and start all the time. Rubbish. Basketball's better, but still not the best. What soccer team is conservative? Rangers. So basically in Scotland, you have Rangers and Celtic. And it's basically like, it's super sectarianism, but super sectarian because Rangers are Protestant and Celtic are Irish Catholic. So they hate each other. And they've had a massive rivalry. They're both from Glasgow as well. And obviously during the Troubles, it was even worse. So yeah, they absolutely hate each other. It used to be so bad, the violence there, and what they represent. So I guess Rangers are conservative. In terms of other clubs, Chelsea are super racist, so I'd say they're more conservative. The socialist ones are like Celtic and Liverpool. Liverpool's a massive socialist one. Yeah, well, that I guess that is quite similar in Britain, but I guess in terms of soccer in Britain, black kids get more of a chance because you get paid a lot of money even when you're a kid. In America, in soccer, you have to pay the clubs, which is crazy, because in this country, you get paid a good wage even when you're like, 15-year-olds can be on crazy money if you're that good. But yeah, it is crazy in America, especially because all the owners and like the politics around it is super sketchy. You love the Boston Celtics. I'm just not big on basketball. American, I think, does the unionizing mean just because they all have different contracts and some are on massive wages? So I don't know. Pro footballers are essentially slaves. I guess, but they are getting paid an absolute ton of money. But like Colin Kaepernick, you speak out and the owners can all blackball you, so others don't speak out as well. Because it's so political. Everything in America is just so crazily political for no reason. Like the school system and stuff. Tennis is good. I'd say for me, football, rugby, tennis, probably the best. Cricket is boring. United Auto Workers Union calls national strikes against GM. 46 workers stay out. Is that recent? Alright, so I want to think of one more thing to talk about before I go. We're talking about sports, but let me think. What's one more thing we could speak about? Oh yeah, okay, here's something I've been thinking about. I think I've rethought my stance on the Second Amendment and guns. Because I used to be like, America should just have no guns. But then when you see all this shit with ICE and the police, and you're like, people should be able to defend themselves in terms of these fascist groups are just everywhere. But also, what the problem is most people take advantage of the Second Amendment or are tolerated are fucking like neo-Nazi, neo-Confederate, or just really conservative militias. And it would be nice to see more socialists taking advantage of this. But of course, the best way to get gun laws is get some socialist militias going, like the Black Panthers. Not saying they're necessarily socialist, but it's obvious like they hated them having their rifles around and carrying them around because they couldn't arrest them anymore for doing nothing. But yeah, I don't know if I've kind of changed my mind in it, just because, especially the American government is so fucking corrupt and authoritarian at the moment. I don't know. Maybe I'm against AR-15s, possibly. But I'm not against. Maybe I've changed my mind about guns in general. Yeah, we can't shoot a policeman who's attacking us. We will get fucked. So it's a bad argument. Yeah, I guess so. Better going out there saying, hell yes, we're going to take your guns is so stupid. You have to be more tactful, maybe not become the straw man right-wingers portray leftists as. I think Mac as well, Beto is saying it to distinguish himself from everyone else. Because it's like the most hardline stance anyone has on guns at the moment. It makes him stand out. How the fuck is Beto still in the debate and Tulsi isn't? Isn't he polling worse? So Rayleigh's saying there are more family gun deaths in homes with guns than used for self-defense. Yeah, I guess that's true, actually. I kind of forget this stuff. But baseball was fucking boring, yeah. Yeah, I am glad we don't have them here, Andy. But the police don't have them here either. In general, they don't have them here, so... So Zephin's saying, they aren't a militia, but the Socialist Rifle Association is a thing. For education and disaster relief. That's interesting. I have seen socialist militias like protect anti-fascist protesters and stuff. Beto picks the wrong issues to try and stand out on. Yeah, like how to make the best burger. So Penicion saying, I would encourage you to check out the result of Wacko and rethink your stance on guns. You can't fight people that outgun you. Yeah, that's true. All right, see you, Michael. Thanks for joining the stream tonight. Beto stands on tables. The question should be, why is Klobuchar? Are people like Bill Maher serious saying Klobuchar should be the nominee? People saying she's from the Midwest. What the fuck does that mean? I reckon Bernie Sanders has way more of appeal in the Midwest than someone like her just because she's from there. London is creating an American football team. Would I try out? No, I would not get in. I can't even... I'm pretty sure that would all be filled up by fans of NFL for one thing, and people who play rugby. So Kennedy's saying, the reason I'm wanting to get a gun is that I'm raising my niece and I'm terrified she'll get a hold of it, and I'd never store it loaded, but Chairs might terrified just thinking about it. I would probably just get a gun and not buy any bullets, just to like brandish it, but I guess you could escalate something. I mean, like, if we're getting a home invasion. Beto swears and stands on tables. If it came to him and Warren, I'd vote for him. Yeah, this swearing stuff is another part of his thing, isn't it? Like, oh, look, I'm the one who swears. Cloud Boot. Oh, yeah. Such a stupid name as well. Bill Maher's the dumbest person. Yeah, I don't know why anyone ever liked him. What was the stuff I used to hate him for when I was younger? Because I know he's a big atheist, but there's something... Oh, yeah, I used to hate him for that Ben Affleck thing. But maybe he was more right than Ben Affleck on that stupid thing. When Ben Affleck was saying criticism of Islam was racist against Sam Harris and Bill Maher. That was when I was a dumb liberal, though. Not saying, like, leftists should like Sam Harris, because they shouldn't, but I do probably agree more with Sam Harris than Ben Affleck. I'm from the Midwest and I actively hate Klobuchar. I don't blame you. Did anyone like Bill Maher? No, he did some documentaries on religion, which were quite good. When he went to the Vatican. I don't know what documentary it was. It was okay. Bernie's a once-in-a-lifetime candidate like Henry Wallace if they elected him. Yeah, it's like Jeremy Corbyn as well. But hopefully just get him elected. If you get a gun, get bullets and practice with it. But I swear it worked on me because I hate Warren. I used to like him because he did religious stuff, yeah. Bernie is Corbyn light. I think if Bernie was in the UK, he'd be more like Corbyn. But yeah, in the context of America, it definitely make him pretty different. Liberals are dumb as fuck. The thing with liberals is that they lean the right way on most things, but they're just so uneducated. Like, all right, here's a good example. So you know Jenna Fisher, who plays Pam from The Office, right? I remember every election, what she does is she'll get all the leaflets, she'll get all the stuff, and she'll read them all, and then she'll make a decision on who to vote for, right? And in a lovely democracy, in some utopian democracy, that would be the best way to decide who to vote for. You just get all the facts out, and you be like, I'm going to vote this person for Congress, this person for Senate, I'm going to vote for this person for president, because I'm just going to weigh up all the facts, and that's it. But you have to be you have to be a stupidly dumb liberal to think there is any way in hell that there is any Republican in the country who is going to help you out. And of course, there are loads of Democrats who aren't going to help you out either. But there's no way, you know, you can read something and be like, oh, maybe I'll vote Republican here and Democrat here. Because 9 times out of 10, the Democrat's going to be better, unless they're like Joe Manchin or something. And even if they're not good, they're still going to be better. So you might as well just vote Democrat every time, especially in a two-party system like that, even though it's annoying. Or vote, it will help vote in the primary so you can vote for people you like. So I think that's just dumb logic. And then she also went to the doctors to get her foot checked out or something. She's like, oh yeah, that was so expensive. And obviously people can't afford this. And it's like, no shit. So liberal... Hollywood liberals are some of the worst people, to be honest. Like Alyssa Milano is a typical one. Do you remember she wrote an article about getting rid of the primary and having some like unity government ticket or some shit like that? Man, how can you be so dumb? I think liberal logic comes from a position of privilege anyway. They couldn't handle Corbyn in the US. Riley, Corbyn is the Labour leader in the UK and Labour are the opposition party. Official opposition, so Corbyn could become next prime minister. But he's basically like, think of Bernie Sanders, but more left wing, or never more unapologetically left wing, I guess. Milano is the dumbest liberal alive. Yeah, exactly. But he lost to Donald Jr. Who are we talking about? Who lost to Donald Jr.? But yeah, it's like Corbyn is just more true, old style British socialist, I guess. The arsehole who's prime minister. Oh, no, he didn't lose. There wasn't an election. Basically, what happens in the UK is when the prime minister resigns, you just have an internal leadership contest for the next prime minister. So Theresa May was our prime minister, she resigned, and then they had the internal leadership contest, which is dictated by 200,000 members of the Tory party. So it's not very democratic in terms of we have this new prime minister forced on us, but I guess people understand the UK when you vote for a party. Well, when you vote for a party, you're voting for them to be the party of government. You're not necessarily voting for one person to be the prime minister. We call him Donald Jr. Sorry, I thought you were talking about actual Donald Jr. Selected. Well, it is sort of elected, wouldn't you say, Andy? It's not like... it's selected by the membership, but... I guess... I don't know, maybe they feel like they have some sort of victory. Because you had the different rounds of voting and everything. But yeah, it sucks. Well, the thing is, you just need to vote out the party. But the problem is you just get loads of shitty prime ministers. They get worse each time. David Cameron, Theresa May, Boris Johnson, just succession of shitty prime ministers. Yeah, maybe it's not really, I guess, in terms of because the Labour could do it as well, even though it's a bit different. Oh, okay, all right, fair enough. All right, on that, I think I'm going to leave it there. Just about to hit 2 hours. So yeah, thank you for everyone for joining. Had a lot of fun, actually. It was a good one. Lots of people tuning in. Lots of likes, 33 likes, wow. So yeah, this week, I made one video on Ben Shapiro and talking about capitalism freeing everyone, and I was going to upload that on Tuesday, but probably go up on Thursday. So instead on Tuesday, I'm going to do a response to all this PewDiePie garbage I've been getting. Just go find the worst comments and talk about how racist they are. And then you want to talk British politics. Maybe really, I'll make a whole video discussing British politics because people ask me about it a lot, to be honest. Yeah, have a good one, Olivia. Have a good week. Have a good week as well, Kennedy. Thanks for joining. Yeah, so then the Ben Shapiro thing, and then, yeah, I'll do this live stream again next Sunday, hopefully. I'm sure I will. And maybe I'll try and make a new video for Saturday, but I'll see how the week goes. I'll see if anything happens. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining. I will probably upload this stream. If you missed the start of it, you can go back and watch it. Talk about various different things. Yeah, see you, Rayleigh. Okay, yeah, I will explain it all one day, because I forget. I forget most people don't understand British politics. Good luck with the migraine. Feverfew. Yeah, I'm going to look for this. I'm definitely going to look for this. Feverfew. I'm going to get the pills. Hopefully it goes away soon, because it's killing me. Rayleigh. Oh, thanks again for the donation, Rayleigh. Another one. Have a beer. Yeah, I'll see. I'm not massive on beer, but I'll get something nice with it. Get a coffee, maybe. But yeah, thanks again for the donation. I really appreciate it. Appreciate all the support in the comments. And yeah, just stay tuned for the channel in the week. Tuesday, Thursday, next Sunday as well. Good luck with the headache, man. Yeah, thanks. Just hope it goes away. It's fucking annoying. Anyway, good night, everyone, and have a good week. Hope to see some of you next Sunday as well.